Your son says he's fine. He smiles. He goes on with his day. But God sees the tears he hides, and today, he's asking you to listen. This message did not arrive by accident. It comes as a gentle but serious reminder to pause, breathe, and listen with your heart rather than your ears. Because somewhere, someone who carries your blood, your memories, and your love is hurting more deeply than you realize. God is not speaking in thunder today. He is not shouting from the sky. He is speaking in the stillness you have been avoiding. And his message is simple, yet heavy with meaning. Your son is crying alone, and he needs you more than ever. You may be wondering how this can be true. After all, your son smiles when he sees you. He says he's fine. He goes about his routine. He laughs at the right moments. But pain does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes, pain learns how to stay quiet because it feels unseen. Sometimes, pain learns how to smile because it fears becoming a burden. God sees what you cannot see. He sees the nights your son lies awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying moments he does not know how to fix. He sees the questions your son carries but does not ask, because he is afraid of disappointing you. He sees the weight your son places on his own shoulders, believing he must be strong alone. And God says today, with seriousness but not anger, I am not joking. This matters. This message is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you. You have done your best as a parent. God knows that. He knows the sacrifices you made, the dreams you postponed, the strength you summoned even when you were tired. But love does not end with effort. Love continues with awareness. And awareness begins with listening again, not just to words, but to silence. Your son's silence has been growing. Perhaps he once came to you easily, openly, without fear. Perhaps conversations were simple back then. But time changes people. Pressure changes hearts. Expectations change confidence. And many sons learn early that vulnerability is weakness, especially when they want to make their parents proud. So instead of saying, I am scared, they say, I'm okay. Instead of saying, I feel lost, they say, I'll handle it. Instead of asking for help, they cry quietly where no one can see. God says, do not mistake silence for strength. Your son does not need a lecture right now. He does not need solutions immediately. He does not need comparisons or reminders of how others survived worse. What he needs is your presence, real, undistracted, unjudging presence. He needs to know that he is safe to be honest with you, even if his truth is messy, confusing, or uncomfortable. God is reminding you today because time matters, not because something terrible will happen if you don't act, but because love delayed often becomes regret. And God, in his mercy, warns us gently before regret has a chance to grow. You might be thinking, but I speak to my son. I provide for him. I ask how he is. And yes, you do. But God is asking you to go deeper than routine conversations, deeper than surface-level care, deeper than responsibility. He is asking you to reconnect at the level where hearts speak without words. Your son is not crying because he doubts your love. He is crying because he doubts his worth. He is questioning whether he is enough, whether he is failing, whether the path he is walking is the right one, whether his struggles mean he is weak. These thoughts do not come from nowhere. They grow in silence, watered by comparison and fear. And when no one notices them early, they grow roots. God says today, I placed you in his life for a reason. You are not just a provider. You are not just a guide. You are a shelter, a mirror, a reminder of who he is when the world makes him forget. And right now, he needs that reminder desperately. This message is not about blame. It is about opportunity. Opportunity to sit beside him without a phone in your hand. Opportunity to ask a question and wait patiently for the real answer. Opportunity to listen without interrupting, fixing, or correcting. Opportunity to say the words he may have never heard enough. I am proud of you. I am here. You don't have to carry this alone. God knows that life made you busy. He knows that stress hardened you in ways you did not choose. He knows that survival sometimes pushes tenderness aside. But he also knows that hearts heal faster than we think when love shows up sincerely. Your son does not expect perfection from you. He expects presence. He does not need you to understand everything he is going through. He needs you to try. He does not need answers to all his questions. He needs reassurance that asking them is allowed. And he does not need to be told to be strong. He needs permission to be human. God is not joking because emotional wounds left unattended do not disappear. They adapt. They turn into distance. They turn into self-doubt. They turn into walls that become harder to break with time. And God, who sees the end from the beginning, is urging you to act while hearts are still soft enough to heal. This is not a moment to feel guilty. This is a moment to feel called. Called to slow down. Called to look again. Called to love louder in ways that do not require words. Called to notice the small signs, the tired eyes, the forced laughter, the withdrawn energy, the shortened answers. These are not random changes. They are signals. And God says, I have shown you this because I trust you. He trusts your heart. He trusts your love. He trusts that once you truly see, you will not turn away. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a willing heart, a listening ear, an open moment. Even a simple conversation can open doors your son thought were locked forever. Even a quiet car ride can become a place of healing. Even a shared meal without distractions can feel like safety. God works through ordinary moments when we choose to be fully present in them. Your son is not broken. He is overwhelmed. He is not lost. He is tired. He is not weak. He is carrying more than he should alone. And God says today, help him now, not with fear, but with love. Love that does not rush. Love that does not judge. Love that does not dismiss feelings. Love that stays even when the conversation becomes uncomfortable. Love that listens even when the truth hurts. This message continues because the journey does not end with awareness. Awareness is only the beginning. In the next part, God will speak about the silent mistakes parents make without realizing it. Not to accuse, but to heal. He will speak about how words spoken long ago may still echo in your son's heart, and how they can be softened. He will speak about rebuilding trust, not through grand gestures, but through consistency. For now, sit with this truth. Your son is crying alone, not because he wants to be alone, but because he does not know how to ask for help. And God chose you to hear this today. In the quiet space between intention and impact, many wounds are born without anyone realizing it. God speaks now not to accuse you, not to burden you with guilt, but to gently reveal what has been hidden beneath years of routine, expectations, and misunderstood love. Because sometimes, the pain our children carry does not come from what we meant to do. It comes from what they felt when they needed us most. Your son remembers moments you may have forgotten. He remembers the times he came to you excited, hopeful, or afraid, and felt unheard. He remembers the look on your face when disappointment showed faster than understanding. He remembers the times you corrected him when he needed comfort, advised him when he needed reassurance, or stayed silent when he needed warmth. These memories were not created because you did not love him. They were created because love was expressed in ways his heart could not always translate. God says, even good intentions can leave scars when tenderness is missing. Your son learned early to read between the lines. He learned what made you proud and what made you withdraw. Slowly, carefully, he adjusted himself to fit into what he believed was acceptable. He hid confusion. He buried doubt. He smiled through pressure. Not because you demanded it, but because he wanted to be worthy of your approval. Children rarely rebel against love. They rebel against the fear of losing it. So when your son felt unsure, he stayed quiet. When he failed, he internalized it. When he struggled, he convinced himself he must handle it alone. Over time, silence became his language, and distance became his shield. Not to hurt you, but to protect himself. God is revealing this not to reopen wounds, but to finally allow them to heal. Many parents believe that providing food, shelter, and guidance is enough. And yes, those things matter deeply. But emotional presence is what shapes identity. A child may forget what you bought them, but they never forget how safe they felt bringing their pain to you. Your son has been strong for a long time. Strong enough to hide tears. Strong enough to say I'm fine, even when he wasn't. Strong enough to carry questions about his future, his worth, and his place in the world without asking for help. But strength without support eventually turns into exhaustion. And exhaustion, when ignored, turns into quiet despair. God says today, I see the weight he carries. You may not have noticed how his laughter changed, how his energy faded, how his dreams became smaller or quieter. You may have thought it was just maturity, or stress, or life. But God sees the deeper truth. He sees a son who feels unseen in his struggle, unsure if anyone would truly understand if he spoke honestly. This is why God asked you to listen again. Because listening now can undo years of unspoken pain. Your son does not blame you the way you might fear. He is not keeping score. He is not waiting to accuse. Most children don't want apologies. They want connection. They want reassurance that their feelings matter, that their emotions are not inconveniences, and that love does not disappear when things get difficult. God says, your humility will open doors your authority never could. It may feel uncomfortable to admit that you miss signs. It may feel difficult to sit with the idea that something you said long ago still echoes in his heart. But healing does not require perfection. Healing requires honesty. A simple acknowledgement can change everything. Saying, I may not have understood you before, but I want to now, can soften walls that seemed permanent. Saying, I'm here to listen, not to judge, can create safety where fear once lived. Saying, you don't have to be strong with me, can bring relief he didn't know he was allowed to feel. God is not asking you to revisit every mistake. He is asking you to choose a different way forward. Your son is at a point where he feels the world expects him to have answers he does not have. He feels pressure to succeed, to be stable, to be confident. And when he falls short of those expectations, he turns inward, questioning his value instead of questioning the weight placed upon him. This is where you matter most. Not as a problem solver, but as a safe place. Not as a judge, but as a listener. Not as someone who tells him who to be, but as someone who reminds him he is enough even while becoming. God says, your presence will speak louder than your advice. You do not need to fix his life in one conversation. Healing is not rushed. Trust is rebuilt slowly through consistency, patience, and genuine interest. Showing up regularly matters more than saying the perfect words once. Your son is watching now more than ever. He is watching to see if your concern is real or temporary. He is watching to see if vulnerability will be met with understanding or correction. He is watching to see if this moment will fade like others, or if it marks a true change. God encourages you to be patient with him and with yourself. Rebuilding emotional closeness takes time. There may be awkward silences. There may be moments where he tests your reactions. There may be hesitation before honesty appears. This is not rejection. This is caution learned from experience. God says, do not retreat when it gets uncomfortable. Stay present. Stay calm. Stay open. Let him speak at his pace. Let him choose his words. Let him feel heard even when you don't fully understand. Validation does not mean agreement. It means respect. Your son needs to know that his feelings are real, even when they are confusing. He needs to know that he can come to you with failure and not lose love. He needs to know that disappointment does not define him. He needs to know that your care is not conditional on success, strength, or obedience. This is the message God is placing in your heart today, not to overwhelm you, but to empower you. Because love, when expressed intentionally, has the power to heal what years of silence created. In the final part, God will speak about restoration, about how your relationship with your son can become stronger than it ever was before, about how trust can be rebuilt, hope restored, and connection renewed. He will speak about how your actions, from this point forward, can change, not only your son's life, but your own heart as well. For now, hold this truth gently. Your son is not distant because he doesn't care. He is distant because he has been carrying too much alone. And God is inviting you to walk back toward him, slowly, sincerely, and with love. God speaks now not with urgency, but with reassurance. Not with warning, but with promise. Because what has been revealed is not meant to leave you heavy-hearted. It is meant to guide you toward restoration. God does not uncover wounds to shame you. He uncovers them so they can finally breathe, soften, and heal. Your son is still reachable, no matter how distant he may seem, no matter how long the silence has lasted, no matter how many moments feel lost. Love, when sincere, always finds a way back. And God says, it is not too late. What your son needs most now is not perfection, but consistency. Not emotional speeches, but steady presence. Not dramatic changes, but small actions repeated over time. Healing rarely arrives all at once. It arrives quietly, in moments of safety, patience, and trust slowly rebuilt. God asks you to begin where you are. Begin by noticing him again. Notice how he enters a room. Notice when he withdraws. Notice what lights him up and what drains him. These observations are not about control. They are about care. When someone feels truly noticed, They feel valued without being told. Your son is longing to feel valued again, not for what he achieves, but for who he is, not for what he provides, but for what he feels, not for how strong he appears, but for how real he can be with you. God says, make space for honesty. This means creating moments where he does not feel rushed, moments where conversation can breathe, moments where silence is allowed without pressure. Sometimes healing begins not with words, but with shared stillness, a walk, a meal, a quiet ride, a simple presence that says, you matter enough for my time. When your son begins to open up, listen more than you speak. Resist the urge to fix everything immediately. Resist the instinct to compare his struggles to others. Resist the reflex to minimize pain with phrases meant to encourage, but often felt as dismissal. God says, let him feel understood before he feels guided. Understanding builds trust. Trust opens hearts, and open hearts heal. Your son may share things that surprise you, thoughts he never voiced, fears he hid, mistakes he regrets, emotions he doesn't fully understand. Stay grounded. Stay gentle. Your calm presence will teach him that honesty is safe. God is not asking you to agree with every feeling. He is asking you to honor them. There is a difference. When you honor someone's feelings, you acknowledge their experience without judgment. You say, I hear you. You say, that sounds heavy. You say, thank you for trusting me with this. These words carry more healing power than solutions ever could. Your son's confidence has been shaken, not destroyed. Confidence is rebuilt through acceptance, through encouragement that is specific and sincere, through reminders of past resilience without pressure to repeat it immediately, through permission to fail without losing love. God says, remind him who he is, not who he should be, not who you wish he were, but who he already is beneath the weight of expectation. Speak life into him. Speak patience. Speak belief. Let him know that his journey does not have to look like anyone else's. Let him know that his pace is allowed. Let him know that uncertainty does not mean failure. Your words matter now more than ever. Words spoken with intention can undo years of quiet self-doubt. Words spoken with love can replace inner criticism with inner strength. Words spoken consistently can become the voice he hears when he is alone and unsure. God says, your voice will echo in his future. But healing is not only about your son. It is also about you. As you reconnect with him, you may discover emotions you have avoided within yourself, regrets, fatigue, unspoken fears. Allow yourself grace. Parenting does not come with a map, and love is learned over time. God does not expect you to be flawless. He expects you to be willing to grow, willing to soften, willing to listen. This willingness will change both of you. Your relationship with your son can become deeper than it ever was before, not because the past was perfect, but because the present is honest. Shared healing builds bonds stronger than shared comfort ever could. God says, what you restore now will bless generations. Because a son who feels safe expressing his emotions grows into a man who knows how to love without fear. A son who learns that vulnerability is strength will carry that truth into every relationship he builds. A son who feels supported will learn how to support others. Your actions today matter far beyond this moment. Do not expect instant transformation. Healing is not linear. There may be setbacks, quiet days, moments of distance. This does not mean you are failing. It means trust is still learning how to walk again. Stay consistent. Stay kind. Stay present. God says, love that remains is love that heals. One day, your son will look back on this season not as the time he felt alone, but as the time he realized he wasn't. Not as the moment he broke, but as the moment he was met with understanding. Not as the season of silence, but as the beginning of connection. And you will know that listening changed everything. God is not joking because love matters. He is not joking because hearts matter. He is not joking because moments like this shape lives. Your son's tears were never meant to be carried alone. They were meant to be met with compassion, patience, and love. And God trusted you with this message because He knows your heart is capable of answering it. So go gently, go honestly, go with love. Your son is waiting, not for perfection, but for you. And God walks with you both.